ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Shear Chat right here in Washington, D.C. I am your host, Rashawn Brognax, and I have my amazing guest this evening, Mr. Ian Edwards, owner of 64 Luxury.
Thank you very much.
Let me just say, Ian and I go back some time now. I met Ian, I think, around the time that when I moved into DC from Maryland. So we've known each other for a while. We've traveled in similar circles, but never had like a whole lot of contact. And I remember him saying to me that he had an interest in starting a skincare line. And I thought, you think about it, you kind of put it to the back of your mind, and then some years later it has manifested. So we have it here this evening, and that is why I have brought him to you so that you can meet him and experience the fabulous product. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am. My name is Ian. I am half Ghanaian and black. My mom's from Chicago. My father is from West Africa, from Ghana. I am a military vet, and I have been in DC for I think 8 years now. 8 years will be in June.
See? So what field are you in?
Well, right now, just government. Is the main job. But focusing on this a lot more. So soon to be skincare, all the way around. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So has this been a passion of yours for a while, or is it something that you kind of stumbled on and realized, hey, I like this? How did it come about?
So I've always kind of been into skincare, even as a little kid. I didn't realize that was what it was. Mm-hmm. But I would be in the store with my mom and just going down the aisle, and I remember just looking at different things on the shelves and just hair care products. I was really fascinated by the way things smelled. Okay. That's really what kind of drew me in. And from there, I started trying out different things. My senior year of high school, I worked at Nordstrom. And then I got a job at Neiman Marcus in the stockroom. I had one class my senior year. And so I got a chance to see all the different products as they were coming in. These were really high-end products. And that's kind of where my deeper love for skincare kind of, really developed when I was in high school.
Okay. So now, was it something that you like to do hands-on, or did you think I just would like to be a developer? How did that portion of it come about?
So I've always liked the creative part of it as well. I was always really attracted to that. Even as a kid, my mom, I always tell people that my mom named me Ian because she kind of knew I was going to have, some sort of interesting personality. I think our personalities are kind of shaped by our names sometimes. So that's kind of like a nerdy, kind of scientific name in my opinion. I used to always play just with different... With food, I love to cook. There were so many different toys that I asked my mom for when I was younger. Creepy crawler sets, an easy bake oven. Okay. So I developed really at a really young age a love for just kind of mixing things and making things.
So now, do you have any formal background in chemistry?
I studied chemistry a little bit in school. I don't have a degree, and I did not pursue chemistry. As a career or as an educational choice. But I am self-taught though. Okay. I have studied and researched for as long as I can remember, from just herbal remedies, herbal medicines, to really high-end complex formulations. Just figuring out how things work has always been something that's interested me.
Okay. So then in terms of just formulating a product, how did you decide what you wanted to come up with? Is it just by mixing things together and see what you come up with, or do you have an idea and you shoot for an idea with the things that you know?
Well, again, just kind of initially it started off just kind of mixing things, and as my fascination grew, I kind of just started compiling information from here and there, and started reading trade publications and journals, different medical research things, anything I could really get my hands on. And I also love fragrance as well. Okay. So I was finding that I wasn't finding, there were a lot of high-end products that I was using, but I kind of decided a couple years ago that I wanted to go the natural route. So I started looking for different products that I felt were comparable to the high-end products that I was using,
Okay.
but that were a little bit more natural.
So tell me, how did you come up with the name of the line?
Um, 6'4" is my birthday.
Okay.
I frequently joke to people that I'm 6'4" inside. But,
Okay.
but 6'4" is my birthday.
Okay.
It is represented in ancient Greek and Roman mythology. The twins, the Dioscuri, they sort of represent balance, and that's really what I was kind of trying to go for with the line. Something that again reflected sort of who I am as a consumer, what I wanted and what I needed to use, in products, but take it a step up and make it again a little bit more high end. So functional, but is also fun to use as well.
Right. Okay, so now tell us a little bit about what you brought today. So everyone, the line is here with us, and as you see, there are quite a few products. So we're going to actually go through them really quick, and so Ian can tell us a little bit about the product and what it would be used for.
Perfect.
Take it away.
Thank you. So the original 3 products were actually the sugar scrubs that I have down here. This one on, I guess, would be your left. I'm not sure. Or your right, with citrus ginger. The next one is cafe mocha, which is raw coffee and French cocoa, and the one on the end is cool green tea and lemon mojito. I came up with the sugar scrubs first. That was the very first thing, and those have kind of been really the star of the brand. That's kind of what people come back to. I decided to use sugar because it's a lot less harsh on the skin than salt.
Okay.
Salt is really, especially depending on where you get the salt from. If it's like a Himalayan salt or like a fleur de sel, a French salt, French sea salt, they can have a lot of different healing properties. So they are really good. Salt from the Dead Sea.
Yes. That's a popular one.
It is. It's very, very popular, and it's great for the feet. It's great for the elbows, the hands, the less tender parts of the body, but you're limited to the body in maybe very specific areas when you use salt scrubs, especially more salts that are a lot more harsh. Again, tons of beneficial properties, but I decided to go with sugar because I wanted people to have the option of being able to use it on their face.
Would the citrus ginger be used for any particular purpose versus any of the others? Is it specific for anything in particular?
So they all provide exfoliation action. Each one of the scrubs does have its own sort of unique properties. The citrus ginger will probably be better for someone who has a little bit more oily skin. The citrus and the ginger both topically kind of have a similar effect as what they have on the stomach as well, which is kind of providing some sort of calming effect. So that definitely works topically as well. The cool green tea and lemon mojito, which is actually one of my favorites, is really, it's right here right there on the end. It's that is really
It's just pretty.
Thank you.
I'm a looker, so like you said, most people are attracted by scent. I am visual, so
that's important as well.
Yes.
Which is why I opted for the clear containers.
Yes.
Also, I think that's so important.
That is amazing.
To see. But the green tea and lemon mojito has Japanese yuzu oil in it. There is North American spearmint, Australian eucalyptus. So it packs a really powerful antibacterial punch. It's really good. I tell women all the time you can use it if you shave your armpits or your private areas as well. It's really good for that, especially in lieu of alcohol. So you shave, if you use a razor, you can actually use it as a pre-shave as well. It's great for that. So you shave, and then you just go over the area very gently, with the scrub, and it helps to clear away the hair and the debris, and really just kind of resurface that area without irritating it.
Okay.
And this last one is the cafe mocha, which is raw coffee and French cocoa. A lot of polyphenols in it, a lot of vitamins, and so I use real French cocoa.
Oh my goodness, it smells like coffee.
I love it. I love it. I just wanted you to smell it.
Yes, I love it.
But that's really good if you're tired in the morning. Just the smell alone, and all of them have a really great scent. The citrus ginger. The ginger isn't very heavy in it. It just kind of anchors the scent a little bit. It keeps it from being cloyingly sweet. The green tea and lemon mojito it's just like a mojito. It's like a summer drink.
That sounds.
Yeah, right. There's nuance there. There's Mexican lime, and that's exactly why I wanted to do it, because again, I love fragrance, and I love the way fragrances are broken down: the top note, the middle note, the base note, and I wanted to try and create a product that you could use. Again, it's functional, but that would also, help you, feel good and enjoy yourself while you're using it in the shower or, after a haircut or after a shave. And then the cafe mocha, I think, again, is the last one. And I also put vanilla bourbon in there as well.
Okay.
Again, just kind of give it a little bit of depth, a little nuance.
I like that.
Thank you.
Okay, so those were the 3 products, the sugar scrubs that we have. We're going to take a quick break right now, and we will be right back. I am here again, just in case you joined us, with the owner of 6'4 Luxury, Mr. Ian Edwards, and this is Shear Chat. You can find us on Facebook at Shear Chat with Rashawn or YouTube with Shear Chat with Rashawn Broadnax. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am here with Mr. Ian Edwards, owner of 6'4 Luxury. This is another evening of Shear Chat, and I am your host, Rashawn Broadnax, right here from the Shear Chat studios of Washington, D.C. Welcome back again, Ian. Okay, so what else do we have in the line?
So behind the scrubs, we have 2 moisturizers, which I call whipped creams. It's shea butter, goat milk, and honey are the base of them. So really healing, really nourishing lotions. And by the way, every product is designed so that they work, really harmoniously together,
Right.
but they can definitely stand completely on their own.
Okay.
Go ahead and check
Very
those out.
nice. And so I love the combination, like you said, they work well together because often, well, the good thing is, like you said, they work well together, but they can work well by themselves. Often, I had a conversation with someone this weekend, and we were talking about products.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Oh my God. We were talking about products working well together, and when you find a line that you like, be it skincare, hair care, should you use everything in the line, or what should you do? And I was sharing with them often that lines are developed to work together. Products are made to work in conjunction with one another, not necessarily with products of other lines, so you have to be kind of careful. But it's good to hear that, like you said, you have developed them to work together, but also they could stand alone by themselves.
Yes. And actually, I definitely want you to smell the cedar and white musk as well. But while you're doing that, if I can actually expound on that just a little bit, the reason I wanted each product to be able to work by itself, and I'm glad you brought that up, is that I want each product to be great on its own.
Oh my goodness, it smells like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with white musk, the cologne. It has that similar smell. It's like that, like a soft musk. That's actually what I like. I don't like a very overbearing musky smell, especially in the summertime. I think it can be a little bit much, but this is it's very soft and mellow. It is amazing.
Absolutely, thank you. Well, so I'm kind of segueing from that. No, not at all. I'm kind of segueing from that just to explain about the scents. The reason I wanted to do the scents the way that I did was, again, I could have easily made, just one whipped cream. It's the same, base formula, just slightly different. But I could have made the same one completely unscented. And actually, a couple of people have asked about that, and so there is an option available for that if someone wants to purchase it unscented. However, for the majority, we're drawn in by the things that we smell, and of course the visual as well. So I wanted these products to have, a nice sort of, I don't want to say veil of a scent, that sounds too soft and wispy, but just kind of a sheer scent that you can put on when you get out of the shower after you use your scrub. But at the same time, you can also use it on your face. And I didn't want it to be very heavily scented. Pardon me, because it is going on the face. So I think that it's important to be able to achieve that sort of balance.
Okay, so let's go on to the third set.
And these are the fragrances. Again, my love of fragrances is what really inspired these. I'm going to try and push these back a little bit. And we have 3 of these here. They're actually 4. There's a 4th scent. And that is one of the sister scents to the Amber and Rose Absolute. So there is an aroma spray for that. This is, again, from, I guess, my side. I never know which side it is. Spearmint and eucalyptus, cedar and white musk, and citrus basil. But I was sitting around one day, you know, I think during lunch, and I was just like, how is perfume? How is fragrance made?
Mm-hmm.
And this was several years ago, and I started doing research into, you know, the history of cologne, the history of fragrances. You know, the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Romans. You know, Persia. You know, Persians. The ancient Asian cultures. You know, every culture, every major culture, you know, has had its own perfume. But modern perfume, as we know it today, started in cologne. And that's where the word cologne comes from.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, just again, like I said before, like I said earlier, just reading a lot of bad information. I wanted to go to school in France, in Grasse, but I didn't have $100,000-$200,000 around. If someone does, please, we're accepting donations.
But the good thing about that is you were still able to achieve without necessarily going that particular route.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one of the amazing things to me.
Absolutely.
So, you know, financial backing is not always going to be, or I'll say not having the financial backing will not always be the end to a dream.
Very true, very true, very true, and that's a really great point. Actually, to that end, I will say there's a huge online community of amateur perfume makers, professional perfume makers, people who are very eager to share their knowledge and information with you. So this is not something that I just completely taught myself. You know, I don't exist in a bubble. And people are very generous, you know, with information if you know where to look. You know, I tell people all the time we have smartphones, but we rarely use them for smart things. So
that's a good point.
So, you know, I stay at home sometimes and I Google and I just try to figure out, you know, how things work. In fact, my mom, shout out to my mom, by the way, who was fantastic and helped me, you know, actually get my business started. I remember some years ago when we were getting started, my mother and grandmother sat and wrote the labels on the fragrances.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little circular label. In fact, on the website 64luxury.com, you can actually see some of the old labels. But it was circular and there was a little line. And since all of them were different, we didn't have the printer capacity to print up all the labels. So you had the stock label and then they would write the fragrances in. And so, you know, shout out to my mom and grandmother for helping me with that.
But, you know, one thing that I wanted to share was that I think what fascinated me most, because something that we study in cosmetology school is how to actually make products. And so we teach our students about blending of fragrances, and they actually learn how to make a lot of products from foods.
Okay.
So, which is to me just amazing by itself. So, you know, we do the scrubs, and a lot of times they use the strawberries. You know, the what do you call it? The seeds on the exterior of the strawberry as the exfoliant. They will use the acidic fruits, oranges, grapefruit, to do various things. And so
citric acid, malic acid.
And so that pulled me in, and knowing that you developed the product, I was like, okay, so this is really along the lines of what we do, what we teach, but again, a different way of, you know, to an end.
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, and I'm glad that you said that, but I still have to point out though, you're still mandated by law, by federal law, to adhere to certain manufacturing guidelines. You know, and it's a lot of money, especially as an independent business. It costs a tremendous amount of money to start up, and it takes a lot of time to develop what I feel like are meaningful products, and that's why, you know, I have spent the past 3, I think maybe even 4 years just researching and just reading and things like that. But it's a lot of time, it's a lot of energy, it's a lot of money, it's a lot of resources. Which, you know, absolutely no complaints. I'm doing something that I love.
That you love.
Yeah, I really, really do love it, and I have no complaints about it. But you do work incredibly, incredibly, incredibly hard, though.
Well, you know, that is the nature, I think, of having your own business, being an entrepreneur. We do have to work hard. It is not a 9 to 5, which I find to be really interesting, that people believe when they work for themselves that they are working a 9 to 5. You know, it's something that you don't turn off. It was something that I had to learn over the years. And because my whole thought process was compartmentalize your life. And so I said, if I work from here to here, then I can play from here to here. I'll sleep from here to here. But then you realize over time that, especially when you love something, those ending lines start to blur.
They do
you
blur.
Do a whole lot more working than you do playing, and sometimes it goes into your sleep time.
Very true.
But I think that was an excellent point that you made, and it is hard work to be an entrepreneur.
And so this is it's a dry oil. It's vanilla oatmeal, but I think we're gonna call it spicy vanilla oatmeal because I added a couple extra things to it that it's warm. It is spicy as the name implies, but it's not hot though, if that makes any sense. It's a very delicate fragrance, and it's actually multi-seasonal. So you can wear it in the summer and get this sort of really nice, as it dries down, you get this sort of nice ambery sort of skin scent. And in the winter, you get that nice, like, wake me up in the morning over a nice bowl of, vanilla oatmeal. Oatmeal. I said oatmeal, but yeah.
So now let's ask that question. Are your products hypoallergenic?
They are. The liquid base of them is organic grape grain alcohol. So that helps to decrease a lot of the irritation that you normally find with maybe lesser quality, fragrances. We won't name any companies.
Right. We're not gonna offend anyone.
Yeah, no lawsuits.
Right.
But again, for every single product, I wanted to make sure that it was done with a lot of care and a lot of attention. Again, because I am an independent business owner, and it costs me a lot more to develop these products. But there's something that I think the products really speak for themselves once you experience them. I'm working on currently a body wash, and I'm working on a face wash, and I've actually been working on those for quite some time. But again, making something that's impactful, but then also something that's important to me is making something that's different as well. Because there are 1,000,001 skincare brands out here. How do I differentiate 6'4" from the thousands of other brands that are out here? The look has to be different. The scent, has to be something that's enticing. It has to be memorable, which is, why I went for this very sort of sleek kind of, sort of look.
But I love the way it looks because I think it would it does set itself apart from a lot of the products that we see. A lot of times, it can be a great product. The labeling is very busy, because the developer's trying to catch your eye, but sometimes it's too much. And I think with it looking, it's just like simplistic beauty, I guess is the way that I could put it. It's just very simple and clean looking, that if I saw it in the store, it would separate itself from everything else around it.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. Again, memorable. So I think the name 6'4" is pretty memorable. Again, a lot of people ask, what is 6'4", and I have to explain it to them then. But in terms of the brand 6'4", I wanted really to represent balance, and that was everything that you just said.
If someone were considering starting a line, how would you tell them to start?
I think the very first thing, and I know it's gonna sound so cliche, but it's so important though, is to do your research. That's really what you have to do. You really have to know what it is that you're getting into, and research has many faces as it relates to skincare. You have to research the skin. I spent 2 years literally just researching skin, specifically melanated skin, and everyone can use these products. These products are fairly universal, in spite of not everyone having universal skin. But I wanted them to be as clean, and again as functional as possible for a wide variety of skin types. However, when I developed the line, I was thinking about myself and the skin problems that I encounter sometimes. As a black man, pseudofolliculitis barbae, razor bumps, razor burn, that's a very common problem. even for women, with curlier hair, shaving your private area, shaving your armpits, and whoever else, shaves whatever. We don't want to exclude anyone, but with the scrub, I think it's amazing that you can use any one of the scrubs. But again, my favorite for after shaving is the green tea lemon mojito. But that you can use them and have them be effective, across a wide, variety of skin types, both face and body. Just give me back to my
well, no, because I'm going to keep moving.
Yes.
We're talking about. So one question that I wanted to ask, or I wanted to reiterate, was the fact that you said it was good for all skin types, because those who deal with the skin know that there are various, I'll say, skin types, as well as there are people who have combination skin. So you may be dry in one place on your face, you may be oily on another. And so sometimes you don't want to use a product that just addresses one or the other, but you need something that is going to kind of universally work for you.
Right.
And you said that is in the development of your product.
Yes, absolutely. Especially, again, going back to the scrubs, that's really why they're the star of the brand. Coming out with a face wash and a body wash again, but those will. Face washes and body washes usually tend to be a little bit less specific because of I guess, the way they're formulated.
Right.
I'm sorry, a little bit less sort of catch-all.
Right.
Because of the way they're formulated. They usually tend to be a little more specific. But the sugar scrub, even for people who have very sensitive skin, for people who have dry skin, people who have oily skin, combination skin, because of the specific choice of oils that I use and the proportions that I use, because that's important as well.
Right.
You don't want to have a really heavy oil, as the larger base of a product, especially for someone who has really oily skin. Now, I will say, on that note, let me divert slightly. A common misconception is that, I have oily skin, I don't need to put any moisture on it. Well, that's kind of counterproductive a little bit, because usually excessively oily skin is really the skin sort of crying out, saying, hey, I'm dry, and I'm sorry, my rubber band's just popped. But the skin is usually dry, and the sebaceous glands or oil glands start to overcompensate. And so you need to have some sort of protective barrier on your skin. You need to introduce some sort of moisture rich product to your skin, especially if you have dry skin. So that, and especially if you have oily skin as well, so that you don't continue to dry the skin out, and then the skin is overcompensating for it. It's sort of a never-ending cycle.
So we're back for our final segment of the evening, which we know is the tea, where I am going to talk about just a few of the current event topics that have been going on, because I've come up with some interesting things, let me just say. I wanted to talk about just these two stories that were really kind of odd to me. So I don't know, I read a lot of stories on Facebook, and at some time, I think maybe about a year ago, there was a story of a doctor in Africa who had allegedly come up with the cure for AIDS and HIV. Okay. Had you heard anything about that? And I'm not even sure if it was actually a true story. It was just something I had read, and it was a picture of the doctor, a gentleman, and I was like, okay. And then people started saying, well, watch he come up missing. He's not going to be alive much longer. It was all these various things because of the conspiracy theories that, pharmaceutical companies, of course, they don't want to find what, like they say, the cure is, the money is not in the cure.
Absolutely.
The money is
in the treatment.
Right. So, and as far as I'm aware, he's still living. However, there was a gentleman, a doctor who worked for the CDC in Atlanta.
Dr. Cunningham.
Right. Who turned up missing in February. So the story basically was, for those who did not know, that sometime in February he was at work. Now, there was kind of two stories going on. One was that he had applied for a promotion at work and did not get it. And, so that kind of wounded him. The other was that he was at work one day and he was not feeling well, and so he told them he was going to go home. Now, so these were two different points of view that were presented, but spoke to the reason why he left work this particular day, which was the last day that he was at work. So he goes home, and no one hears from him. No one's. He said he was sick, or either some people thought that he was upset. So he goes home, and the next day, his keys are there, his dog is there, his wallet is there, but he is not. And so he is now missing. And so the story goes that he went on for weeks unfound, and the body was discovered in the Chattahoochee River. And so I thought that was kind of odd, because the first thing that I thought about was the doctor in Africa, because they said that Dr. Cunningham was also instrumental in developing the treatments for Ebola and the Zika virus. So immediately it came to my mind that I'm wondering if this was
to trigger something.
Yeah, something similar, because I'm like, you're working for the CDC, and what's going on. So did you heard about the story? Did you have any particular thoughts on that?
I have heard the story. I've heard about the story, and I've like you, I've heard a lot of conflicting reports about his last days, when his body was discovered, how it was discovered.
The officers in the area have said that the details are lacking, so that they are having a difficult time. And like you said, we don't know what they actually know, but they were saying that the details are so small or all over the place that there's no way to really figure out what's going on. So they actually, from a report that I saw yesterday, said that this will probably be a closed case.
Yeah,
and so that's how few details. But the interesting thing, or the thing that piqued my interest, was, because I love a crime, not like I'm not saying I love a crime, but I love like a mystery. Was that he went to his neighbor's house and spoke to the husband and told the husband to tell the wife to remove his cell phone number from her cell phone.
Right.
And so it was like that little detail was the one thing that I think has made everybody kind of think, like, what could have taken place?
Right.
And then all of a sudden, he's gone. But then the other interesting part was where the body was found was also a place that was previously searched. So they were saying that, of course, that because of the positioning of the body, just in case if you have not looked into it at all, the body was found face up downstream in a muddy area. So, after it, I'm not even going to try to, go into what could have happened. But, so that's how the body was found. And they were saying even with that, they were unable to put together anything. But just that one detail that was brought forth by the neighbor, was just the interesting thing. They also talked to his sister, which she said that he sounded a little strange, but there was nothing that she could pinpoint. She just said he sounded strange.
Had a feeling,
right?
Yeah.
And so the only, I think, really out of place thing was the mention to the neighbor to remove the cell phone. So, and I couldn't think to myself, like, what could that possibly be about?
Yeah.
And so that one story of Dr. Cunningham took me to another story that recently took place. A gentleman went to the nightclubs right here close to our Shear Chat studio. Went into the club, came out. Now there's two conflicting stories. One says that he was a little too inebriated, and he decided to take a lift home. The other says that he couldn't find his car. So it could be one and the same. Maybe he was too drunk to find the car. But they have not put those two things together yet. But
so these are two completely different theories.
Yes, as to why he didn't have his car. And so he goes home and he comes back the next day.
Okay.
And he's walking to where his car is, and he says he notices that he can't get to the car because there are police blocking off the block where the car is.
Okay.
So he says, oh, okay, well, the police down there, something happened, whatever. I'm going to go run some errands, and I'll come back.
Okay.
He does, only to find that he can't find his car now for real.
So really, dude, where's my car?
And he reports the car stolen.
Okay.
And the police say, well, tell me again what kind of car it is. What's the tag number? And they say, well, unfortunately, your car, we cannot release your car to you because it was a part of a crime. And so he's thinking, like, part of the crime, like, my car was parked.
Okay.
So he says, well, maybe somebody
hit
the next
it.
Day? Yes.
Okay.
Maybe somebody hit it, So he's thinking, and then as they continue to question him to make sure that he was the owner of the car, they revealed that a deceased body was found in his car. So, as I did a little more research into it, I found that the person was a law student. I'm sorry, a lawyer.
Okay.
And his mom talked about, him and said, he was not a person to, she's really, on the foul play type tip.
Okay.
She's like, he's not a person to go out and stay out all night long. So basically, they just don't know what happened to him. And the ironic thing, almost like Dr. Cunningham, there is no signs of visible struggle. There's no signs of foul play.
Okay.
He was just there, dead.
Wow.
And so I thought, to me, it was just kind of, like you said, chilling because it's so close to home. But then also, I think about my parents always say, you have to be so careful, when you're in the streets. And I'm like, yeah, you're careful,
Yeah.
And then you go on about your business. But then when things like this happen, and it would be one thing if you could say, oh, he was knocked across the head because of, whatever. He had his cell phone, or something like that. But for there to be almost no answers as to why, and, this person is now dead, there's no answer as to how this happened. That's kind of scary to me.
That's very scary. That's very scary to have someone show up dead in your. Well, I guess they wouldn't show up if they're dead.
Right. That's like saying you woke up dead.
Yeah, but to have a dead body in your car. And so this was the very next day.
This was the very next day.
And
so apparently,
so he was at the. Obviously, it's night. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but it's obviously it's nighttime. He's at the club. So when did this? Do they know when it happened? Like when did he leave the club? Like. Is he a suspect?
Because I don't think he's a suspect. Not that anything that I've read, has labeled him as a suspect. I should say.
So, are there any other maybe specific markers about him? I mean, what is are they looking at the possibility of a hate crime? I mean, it's was he
not
gay,
that we know
black,
of.
Muslim, Hispanic?
He was black. Well, he looked like he was biracial. The mom looks like as if she was a Caucasian lady. So, but again, it wasn't specific. But those were pretty much all the details. So it's another kind of bizarre event that is taking place.
Absolutely.
And I just said, right here in our own backyard.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah.